If you're planning a cruise in 2027 or beyond, some of the biggest changes happening right now may affect how much you pay, when you have to pay it, and even how you plan your cruise vacation. This week, Princess Cruises announced a major change to final payments and deposits. Norwegian Cruise Line is changing the way they price cruises. We have an important update from Santorini that could affect your next Mediterranean itinerary. Plus, Mexico is seeing record cruise growth. Norwegian is opening a massive new private island experience. And later in the show, you had a lot to say about cruise gratuities. I read your comments, and there were some really thoughtful perspectives on both sides of the debate. I'm Angela from Grab Your Bags Travel, and this is the Wake Report. Now let's start with what I think is the biggest consumer story this week. Princess Cruises is changing how guests pay for their cruises. Beginning September 2nd of 2026, new bookings for sailings departing January 1st, 2027 and beyond will have a new final payment schedule. The biggest change? Final payment will now be due 120 days before sailing for all cruises, regardless of length. Previously, some shorter cruises allowed guests to wait until approximately 90 days before departure. Now everyone will be working with that earlier deadline. Princess is also increasing deposit requirements. For example, inside ocean view, balcony, and mini suite categories will see deposit increase. Shorter cruises from 100 to 125 per person, 6 to 9 nights from 250 to 300, longer cruises from 400 to 500. Suite deposits are increasing as well. The cancellation schedule is also changing. The biggest thing cruisers need to know is that the flexibility window is becoming shorter. Missing final payment isn't something Princess is allowing extensions for. If payment isn't received by the deadline, the reservation can automatically cancel. So what does this mean for you? If you're someone who likes to book early but still wants extra time to finalize plans, or maybe you book cruises while waiting to confirm flights, hotels, or time off work, this is a change you'll want to keep in mind. The one thing I'm going to be watching is promotions. Princess has historically offered reduced deposit promotions from time to time. With standard deposits increasing, I'm curious whether Princess will continue offering those reduced deposit opportunities in the future. And if they do, those promotions may become even more valuable for cruisers who like to secure a sailing without putting down the full deposit amount. Now, speaking of booking strategy, Norwegian Cruise Line is also changing the way it approaches cruise pricing. Now, when you hear the words revenue management, it sounds like something only cruise executives need to care about, but this actually affects passengers. Norwegian says it's moving toward a pricing strategy designed to create stronger demand earlier in the booking cycle. In the past, Norwegian says they sometimes held prices too high early on, which resulted in more last-minute discounting closer to the sailing. And I, for one, can vouch for that, as I have seen that happen many times. Their new approach is designed to offer more competitive pricing earlier while reducing the need for those last-minute price drops. Well, what does this mean? If you're someone who waits until the last minute hoping for a deal, you may not see those same opportunities in the future. Norwegian is essentially saying we want guests to book earlier, and we want pricing to be more consistent throughout the booking window. Now let's check back on a story we've been following here on the Wake Report. Santorini. After a retaining wall collapsed near the famous stairs connecting the old port area to Fira, local officials have temporarily changed how cruise passengers will access the island. Organized cruise excursions will now operate through the ETIAS port instead of the traditional Fira port area. For those who have visited Santorini, you know those famous cliffside stairs. They've been part of the experience for generations. They are also the route associated with the island's famous donkeys. That experience is currently unavailable while repairs are assessed. Now, the cable car remains operational, but officials are trying to manage the increased passenger flow through ETIAS. If Santorini is on your upcoming itinerary, pay close attention to your cruise line's communication. Your excursion experience may look different than what previous travelers experienced. And another late-breaking announcement: if you are traveling to Greece or any other European country, the ETIAS has officially announced they are postponing their launch date and may start it in 2027. They said they will inform the public a few months before the start date, but as of now, no applications are needed for U.S. citizens to travel into Europe. Now, while one destination is dealing with operational changes, another continues to grow at an incredible pace. Mexico remains one of the hottest cruise destinations in the world. During just the first 6 months of 2026, more than 6.5 million cruise passengers visited Mexican ports. That's a 17% increase compared to the same time last year. What's interesting is that cruise ship arrivals only increased by about 12%, meaning cruise lines are sending larger ships carrying even more passengers. That growth is great news for local economies, but it also comes with another change cruisers need to know about. Mexico has now introduced the next phasing in its cruise passenger tourism fee. Beginning this month through June of next year, the fee will go from $5 to $10 per cruise passenger. It will then increase to $15 starting in July of 2027 and eventually rise to $21 per person beginning in August of 2028. This fee is charged once per cruise, not once per port. So if your itinerary visits Cozumel, Costa Maya, Progreso on the same sailing, you will only be charged the fee one time. Your cruise line will simply add it to your onboard account. So if you're budgeting for your next Caribbean cruise, especially one visiting Mexico, this is another charge you'll want to keep in mind. $10 isn't likely to change anyone's vacation plans, but it's one more reminder that government taxes and fees continue to evolve and they can add up over time, especially as this fee increases over the next few years. What I find interesting is the timing of this announcement. At the same time Mexico is reporting record cruise tourism growth, it's also increasing the fees cruise passengers pay to visit. Mexico says the fees will help with tourism infrastructure. It'll be worth watching to see whether these higher fees have any impact on demand or whether Mexico's popularity continues to outweigh the additional cost. And finally, Norwegian Cruise Line is transforming its private island experience. Great Stirrup Cay in the Bahamas is getting a major upgrade with the new Great Tides Waterpark. The nearly 6-acre water park includes a 4-person body slide, an immersive lazy river experience, new dining options, dueling water coaster slides, cliff jumping attractions. Another major improvement, the new 2-berth pier is now open. That means guests can walk directly onto the island instead of relying on tender boats. So if you're sailing Norwegian in the future, your private island day is going to look very different. This is another example of cruise lines investing heavily into their private destinations. Now it's time for this week's On My Radar. Last week we talked about Celebrity Cruises' increased gratuities, and I asked you what you thought. And wow, you definitely had opinions. After reading your comments, I noticed something interesting. Most people were not debating whether cruise ship crew members deserve to be compensated. The overwhelming majority agreed. The crew works incredibly hard. The debate was really about how gratuities should work. The first viewpoint I heard repeatedly was just include gratuities in the cruise fare. One viewer said, raise the cruise fare by the gratuities amount and end the discussion. And honestly, that was one of the most common responses. My YouTube poll showed something similar. About 75% of respondents said they would rather see gratuities included in the cruise fare. Others felt passengers should have more control. Some cruisers shared that they prefer removing automatic gratuities and personally rewarding crew members who provide exceptional service. One viewer shared a story about personally tipping their cabin steward and dining staff and feeling that direct recognition was meaningful. And there was another group that said, I actually like automatic gratuities. Some cruisers said they prefer paying ahead of time because it makes budgeting easier. They don't want to see a large bill waiting at the end of their vacation. I also came across an interesting article recently discussing cruise ship crew compensation. One thing it highlighted is that cruise ship wages vary significantly by position, and gratuities are part of the compensation structure for many guest-facing roles. But the article also pointed out something important. Gratuity systems vary greatly across cruise lines. There isn't one universal system. So where do I personally land on this? For me, the word gratuity has always meant recognizing service that goes above expectations. That's traditionally how tipping worked. But today's automatic cruise gratuities function differently. They are much closer to a service charge that is part of the overall compensation structure. I also understand why cruise lines move toward automatic gratuities. I remember cruising in the early 2000s when some passengers would skip the last night of the main dining room simply to avoid tipping the waitstaff and dining room team. That wasn't fair to the crew. Where I think the conversation has changed is transparency. Cruise fares have increased. Automatic gratuities have increased. And at the same time, some cruise lines have reduced certain services like twice daily cabin service. So I understand why passengers are asking, what exactly am I paying for and where does that money go? I don't think the crew is the issue. They work incredibly hard, often spending months away from their families. My bigger question is whether cruise lines could do a better job explaining the system. More transparency would help everyone. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think cruise lines should include gratuities in the cruise fare and advertise one complete price? Or do you prefer keeping gratuities separate? Let me know in the comments because I love hearing your perspectives, and your comments may be featured in a future episode. Now that's all for this week's Wake Report. If you found today's stories helpful, be sure to subscribe because every week I break down the cruise news that actually affect your vacation planning. And before we go, one story that broke just after I finished putting this episode together, MSC Cruises has announced a brand new private destination in the Dominican Republic. We're going to dive into that next week because it's part of a much bigger trend happening across the cruise industry. Every major cruise line seems to be building or expanding exclusive destinations. So next week, we'll compare MSC's announcement with Royal Caribbean's Perfect Day collection, Norwegian's Great Stirrup Cay expansion, Carnival Celebration Key, and Disney's private destination to answer one question. Why are cruise lines investing billions into private destinations? And what does it mean for your future cruise vacation? I'm Angela with Gravy Bags Travel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week on The Wake Report. Happy cruising!